This is Plant-Based Briefing, Hidden Tool to Become a Happy, Easygoing Vegan Despite What You Know, by Dr. Clare Mann at Beyond Vystopia at LinkedIn.com. And I'm Marian Erickson, host of this curated content plant-based podcast, where I narrate a variety of articles on plant-based and vegan living with permission in about 10 minutes or less every weekday. But today's is longer than that because this is episode 1000. I can't believe it. I launched the podcast April 26th of 2021, so it's almost 4 years now that I've been publishing an episode every weekday for 4 years. I think there was one time where I took a week off and just posted earlier episodes, and I might actually do that some more now that I have 1,000 out there. Like, I don't even remember half of them that I read 4 years ago, so they can be new content again if they're evergreen, if I do just need a bit of a break. But I do have a short article to read today, but I also want to spend a bit of time thanking you all for listening. I really appreciate it. And some of you share episodes with family and friends or share what you've learned. I'm so grateful for that. And some of you comment on YouTube. I feel there's this little community on YouTube where we have conversations. Some of you reach out to me through my website, emailing me, and some of you leave reviews. That means the world to me, to know that I'm actually making a difference and people are listening. For those who don't know, I was vegetarian on and off for almost 20 years. The reason for the off part is because I never bothered to educate myself. I just thought I was doing the right thing by not hurting animals. And if I caught a glimpse of a video clip that was disturbing, animals in animal ag or an article or anything, I wouldn't read it. I didn't want to be upset. I was doing my part. I would never, ever watch any of the documentaries. No way. But what I didn't realize was by not educating myself, I was part of the problem. I didn't understand the extent of animal exploitation in so many other industries other than, the meat industry. So I fell for the humane hoax, believed that I could start eating animals again if I bought them when they were quote unquote humanely raised. It was a journey. Eventually, I went back to being vegetarian. And it was in 2019 that I was looking up a recipe and I saw somebody in the comments talk about oil being bad for you. You shouldn't eat oil. I'm, what? I've never heard that before. So I started Googling and I found a Rich Roll podcast episode with Chef AJ and listened to that. And then either they talked about or I heard about John Mackey and the Whole Foods diet and listened to that one and ended up buying John Mackey's book that he wrote with Drs. Alona Palday and Matthew Lederman. They're the docs from the Forks Over Knives documentary. It's called The Whole Foods Diet, and I bought it because it also had a meal plan in the back in case I wanted to try some of this stuff. But read it on vacation, and at the pool every day, I'm pretty much elbowing my husband constantly saying, "Oh my gosh, listen to this. Oh my gosh, listen to this." I had no idea, and I was so angry that this information that could save people's lives, could reverse heart disease, could reverse diabetes, was hidden. And I think most people who learn that have a similar reaction. But our family went whole food plant-based as soon as we got home. We were vegetarian again at the time, so it was just getting rid of the processed foods and the egg and dairy and that stuff. But I had no idea what to cook. So I started researching more and listening to podcasts and subscribing to all these newsletters and was horrified to learn the little bits that got sprinkled in on these whole food plant-based podcasts about animals or the environment. I would never have listened to it before, but for some reason I was ready to listen to it then, and my life changed. I said I have to become vegan and I have to be active. I have to do something. And I started out as a vegan who wanted all my family and friends to receive the message the same way I did and be horrified and change immediately, but they weren't ready. And I became angry and hurt and wondered what was wrong with me? Why could I not handle this information? Other vegans seemed to be getting along fine in the world. And then I discovered the book Vystopia by psychologist Clare Mann and read that in the summer of 2020. And that helped me so much. I highly recommend it. And I also discovered the Liberation Pledge, and that helped me too, because again, I was wondering what was wrong with me. I could not be around anybody eating animals, and this pledge has helped me mentally and helped my advocacy. I've got a number of episodes about that. In particular, check out episode 100 if you're interested. But as I was gathering all this information and sharing articles with family and friends, I realized I could probably curate this information and share it in audio format, just like my favorite podcast, Optimal Living Daily. It is a curated content podcast, and my podcast is modeled after it exactly. I reached out to Justin Malik, who created that podcast, and he's now got a number of them all around personal development. Go to oldpodcast.com. They're fantastic. But I reached out to him and said, I'm thinking of doing this as a passion project for plant-based living. Is it okay? And what do you recommend as far as reaching out to people to get their permission? And he was wonderful. He helped me get started on that. And my wonderful sister, my vegan sister, helped me get organized. And I launched April 26, 2021. One of the first people who gave me permission to share their content was Silash Rao at climatehealers.org. His response was beautiful. He essentially said, yes, Marian, all of this content is there for people to disseminate, so please share whatever you'd like. And he invited me to be on his new podcast at the time called the Moonshot Podcast. And I was a guest on that podcast just a month later, the end of May 2021. And I thought, what in the world does he want to talk to me about? Because I looked at some of his previous guests, and it was interesting. He was just so excited that somebody had a passion and had found a way to do something. He was also having a number of technical difficulties because he had just released his position paper about animal ag being responsible for 87% of greenhouse gas emissions, and said that people were actually targeting his technology, trying to silence him, I guess. And so there were times in the interview where he was just frozen or garbled, and I'm sitting there 1 month into this, didn't know anything, and a few times had to ad lib and just babble on alone because he would just freeze. But I survived and kept plugging along, and now here we are at episode 1000. And I do want to thank everybody who has emailed or written reviews. Almost all have been nice. One early review, I think it was a 1-star rating because the person didn't like an episode that I read, but a couple people wrote reviews, bad reviews, because they hate my voice. They think I am an AI voice. My voice is so grating. I'm trying to sound all feline, whatever that means. But most people have been very nice, and I want to read a special email I got recently from one of my YouTube friends, part of this community on YouTube. She comments on almost every single episode, and we have conversations in the YouTube comment section of the podcast. There's actually a nice little group of people that comment regularly and interact on YouTube. I've also got some people that do that on Facebook too. They share the posts, and on Facebook, I'm so bad. I have to do it all through Meta, and I don't really understand how it works. I have a bunch of different Facebook pages, and I get messed up. So I apologize that I'm not very active on Facebook, but I do see the notifications when people have shared posts and things like that. I will try to figure that out and get better at it. Just know that I see you all and I love you all for it. But this one person at Carrie Everlasting in the YouTube comments suggested that for episode 1000, maybe I share something that I've written. And I thought, I can't write. That's why I read other people's writing. And, maybe I'll just skip from episode 999 to 1001 so I don't have to write something. And then I said, why don't you write something? I'll read it. And I actually meant for her to write an article that I would read. But she actually wrote a beautiful review kind of thing, a beautiful thank you. And I feel kind of silly because I wasn't asking for compliments, but that turned this episode into thanking all of you amazing people for the beautiful things you've said. So for episode 1000, at Carrie Everlasting sent me an email to share that says, thank you for being here today to celebrate an extraordinary milestone, the 1000th episode of Plant-Based Briefing. I would like to not only honor the achievements of an exceptional YouTube channel, but to recognize a passionate animal rights advocate whose dedication to promoting plant-based living has made a lasting impact on so many lives. When Marian launched Plant-Based Briefing, her mission was simple yet powerful: to provide concise, evidence-based information that would help people understand the many benefits of living a plant-based lifestyle. Little did we know then that this channel would grow to become a trusted resource, guiding people on their journey toward healthier, more compassionate, and sustainable choices. Over the course of 1,000 episodes, Marian has built a library of knowledge that spans the latest research on nutrition, the environment, animal rights, and beyond. She's tackled tough topics with grace, simplifying complex issues so that anyone, whether they're just beginning their plant-based journey or have been living this lifestyle for years, can access valuable, actionable insights. Through her dedication, Marian has not only educated, but also inspired countless individuals around the world to take action. Whether it's by introducing viewers to the science behind plant-based diets, reading from experts, or simply sharing stories of transformation, Marian has made a lasting difference, one episode at a time. The milestone of 1,000 episodes is a testament to Marian's tireless work ethic, her passion for the cause, and her unwavering commitment to making the world a better place. It's also a reflection of the amazing community that's formed around plant-based briefing, a community that believes in the power of knowledge, compassion, and positive change. Marian, today we celebrate you. We celebrate your hard work, your dedication, and the countless hours you've spent researching, recording, and sharing content. You've created a space where people feel empowered, informed, and supported in their journey. Thank you for 1,000 episodes of invaluable insight, for helping so many embrace a healthier, more ethical lifestyle, and for being a shining example of what it means to use your voice to make a difference. Here's to the next 1,000 episodes and beyond. The work you've done is just the beginning, and the impact you continue to make will ripple out for years to come. Congratulations, Marian Erickson, on reaching this monumental milestone. Your work matters more than ever, and we are all better for it. Thank you more than you know. Aw, thank you, Carrie, so much. I do appreciate every beautiful thing people have written. The friends I've made, I feel like I'm friends. Those of you who interact regularly on Facebook, who email me, who write reviews, I just love it all. Anyway, if anyone is still listening at this point, I am going to get to today's article now. It's written by Clare Mann. She is a vegan psychologist. She's the author of the book Vystopia, The Anguish of Being Vegan in a Non-Vegan World. And for an overview of that book, check out episode 166. It's an interview Michael O'Fay from The Minimalist Vegan did with Dr. Clare Mann. But I reached out to her to see if I could narrate some of her content on veganpsychologist.com. And she got back to me and she was wonderful and said absolutely, and told me that she's also started a LinkedIn newsletter called Beyond Vystopia and that I'm welcome to read from that too. So that's where I chose today's article from. And it ties in nicely to the last 2 episodes, Handling Anger Towards Pre-Vegans and the 9 Pillars of Wellness to Wonderful. And it ties in nicely to the beautiful email I got from Santosh that I read a couple episodes ago about this being a joyful way to live. So now let's get to today's 1,000th plant-based briefing. Hidden Tool to Become a Happy, Easygoing Vegan Despite What You Know, by Clare Mann in her Beyond Vystopia newsletter at linkedin.com. Every day we wake up discovering yet another form of animal abuse at a hidden industrial level. It's easy to become despondent, wondering how you can be an even bigger part of a solution to stop this. It doesn't surprise me that I still come across vegans who still feel guilty being happy and lighthearted, knowing what's happening right now in factory farms and animal testing labs. Then there's the frustration that people don't understand them or think veganism's a fussy diet, followed by the disappointment that your non-vegan family just don't get it and continue with actions that add to the suffering. When I ask people if their despair and sadness is helping animals, they presume not, but can't reconcile the burden of knowing with having a happy and fulfilling life. They feel stuck, sad, or guilty that they're not doing enough, particularly in everyday conversations, and anxious when non-vegans say, "I would never want to be vegan if it means being negative and miserable like you." Non-vegans have a point. It's human to move towards pleasure and move away from pain. No wonder they resist us, saying, "Don't tell me I can't bear it," when we try to share the latest animal atrocity. It doesn't mean they're bad people, happy to go along with cruelty of lost causes. It's just that, like us, it's agonizing to discover such suffering, and once we know something, we can't unknow it. Until then, our psychic defenses protect us from more mental pain. And is being unhappy really going to create a kinder, more compassionate, and abundant world for all? I think not, but maybe we can have our cake and eat it. Lessons from the book Kabbalion Philosophy. I learned something from Kabbalion Philosophy, published in 1908. Maybe you've heard of this. Kabbalion means that which is concealed, i.e. secret. Set out in this book are 7 universal laws that appear in religion, philosophy, and ancient wisdom over centuries, and more recently in positive psychology. One of the 7 Hermetic principles is correspondence, meaning as within, as without. Having worked in the laboratory of human experience for over 30 years, I don't just look at my scientific training to make sense of behavior and society. I believe the law of correspondence is to be taken seriously. At a simple level, just smile at someone, and even strangers usually smile back. Glare, and someone glares back. This is the law of correspondence. I tell my clients that if you want a happier, kinder, more compassionate and considerate world, start by donating one happier, kinder, more compassionate and considerate person, you. And I don't think it's just about us feeling warm and fuzzy. I believe that despite the burden of knowing about animal cruelty, when we choose to invest in our well-being, becoming exquisite, engaging conversationalists, and commit to effectively sharing the message of a kinder way of living for all beings, we are serving the animals more, demanding their liberation, and ushering in a vegan world. Try acting differently for a week and see if you get better results in your vegan outreach, including conversations with not yet vegan family and friends. You just listened to Hidden Tool to Become a Happy, Easygoing Vegan Despite What You Know by vegan psychologist Clare Mann in her Beyond Vystopia newsletter at linkedin.com. And I'm your host, Marian Erickson. Sorry for the long episode today, but it is 1,000, woohoo! And if you'd like a bit more information on how to become this outwardly happier person, check out the previous episode, the previous 2 actually. And if you have a minute, please drop me an email. You can go to plantbasedbriefing.com and there's a contact form at the bottom, or my email is marian@plantbasedbriefing.com. That's Marian. And you could also leave a review on Apple Podcasts. I would always appreciate that, and I'll give you a shout out if it's nice. So please share this episode with anyone who might benefit, and thanks for listening.